Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Ayyubid and how you can play Ayyubid in 3 different ways. First off, Pro Scouts, how you can play the competitive meta build that is Pro Scouts with Ayyubid. Then we'll be looking at how to play a little bit of a cheese strat, but it's essentially just Desert Raider and Dervish spam, which is very strong against cavalry, against hybrid civs on hybrid maps. Finally, we'll be looking at Ayyubids on water and how you can play naval aggression with them. As usual, we'll be posting the build orders in the description so you can follow along. Everything is transcribed, and that's on all of my build order videos if you've missed that. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. All right, let's get into it. The first build we take a look at is Ayyubid Pro Scouts. Ayyubid Pro Scouts is very strong because you can still play with growth with 3 villager H up and get Pro Scouts on top of that. So you get a really, really strong economy early on, and then you make a bunch of units. You get your 2 deer packs safely, and you go castle with the Dervish logistics wing, and then you can take a lot of relics that way. So it's a really, really strong build. It's very competitive for the meta that we're currently in. So let's take a look. As usual, build order in the description. So you want to open up with going on the berries, take all of your 6 villas there, and then those berry villas, you want to split them up so that there are 2 villagers on each of the closest berry bushes. So that's going to be really good for us because what we're going to do is we're going to go for an age up to feudal age where we're going to have an orchard bonus, as it's called, which means we get another 50 food. Now, what's really important with the berries is that we don't extinguish these or exhaust them, whatever word you want to use, until we get that bonus, because we will miss out on food that way. We want to preserve food as long as possible. So what we'll do is we'll go for the feudal age, and then we move the villagers out to these 3 bushes here. That's why we split them. All right, let's keep going. Your first build that comes out the TC is going to kill a sheep and then build a house to connect the mill and the TC. There can always be, when you're connecting mills, 2 tiles between buildings and mills, and that's to fit farms. And other buildings is 1 tile. So just keep that in mind. I like to build the houses here on the corner. Next up, build a mining camp. You want to go 7 on food in total. Leave the 6 on berries, 1 on sheep. Then another 4 to gold. So 1 to mining camp. And then a house of wisdom to connect all the buildings here. That's how we connect to the mining camp. Build the house of wisdom always. Try to build it towards the back because you have 2 landmarks, right? So you don't want to get into a situation where you're being feudal attacked and then you are losing the defense because they're ramming your front house of wisdom. Okay, so I've lost plenty of games like that, even in tournaments. Keep the House of Wisdom in the back. I speak from experience. Mining camp, send 2 more to gold. Have the second villager that goes to gold, build the House of Wisdom, mining camp. And then you just go 4 on gold, 1 more to food, and then you should be able to age up with your economic wing growth. You do this at 2 minutes and 12 to 15 seconds. I'll show you how to get that timing right. Of course, scout just goes aggressive. You're a berry civ. You don't need to come back with sheep. So here at about 210, 28, you click your gold, and then you watch how that gold goes below 3,900 gold. Once it does that, you drop off all of your villagers' gold because they're carrying enough gold. And then you do the same thing with these villagers here and your sheep bills. So it goes below 3,900, drop off, then drop off these. And if you already have the food because you have a fortunate spawn, you don't need to do that drop off. Then, of course, keep villagers in queue. Go for the growth wing with 3 vills. And then you want to keep, and this is where what I was talking about, split the vills now to the next 2 berry patches. Then rally onto food, take all your straggler trees. You want to go up to about 12 on wood here. So take all your straggler trees, then go into lumber camp. You want to get a lot of wood. You want to keep your gold vills on gold because you want pro scouts. And then a stable, of course. So that's the build. Simply speaking, we're just trying to get pro scouts. You will have to adjust in your games depending on how much aggression your opponent is putting out to how many units you're going to make. You're also going to adjust your H-up timing. Sometimes you go for a fast castle. Sometimes you're going to go a little bit slower. It depends on if your opponent's booming more, being more greedy, or if you can just go aggressive and then kill them that way. It's sort of depending on that. But your goal is always to take 2 deer packs at least and then get to the castle age. So now we're almost up. Notice how we've built a house. We need a house during the H-up before 4 minutes and 10 seconds. It's 4 minutes, 14 seconds. And then growth wing will come out. If you don't build the house, you won't get your villagers. because now we have 22 pop. So build that house before. Stable, queue up pro scouts from your mill. Keep the 4 villagers on gold if you want to get upgrades continuously, which you will. And then you'll have 12 on gold. Oh, wood, sorry. 4 on gold, 6 on food, 12 on wood. Then rally back to food so you can make units. Get a lumber camp. Now the next focus is Golden Age. Get your Golden Age. You need 10 buildings in total. Here's 2 more, so we need 3 more after this. I like to go stable, lumber camp, barracks, and then 2 houses. That gives me Golden Age. Barracks is really good because your opponent's going to go for their own spears. It's good they're going to go for their scouts. And you can even open up Desiderator if you feel like it. It's going to delay you a little bit by doing that, but it's a really good counter to enemy scouts. So opening up with a Desiderator against Roost, for example, makes a lot of sense. You can also open up with 1 or 2 spears, place them out on the deal packs, and that can be really annoying as well. So that's my best advice there. Then you keep playing it. You get your houses, you get your Golden Age tier 1. Try to get it before 6 minutes. 5 minutes-ish is good. Now we've got an archer range. And again, this is of course against a bot. So I'm just simulating what it's like if I'm up against somebody who's also going to go and try to contest my deers. So I'm taking my deers. I have 4 scouts in total. I have made a blacksmith in case I need to go upgrades, and I would go upgrades if my opponent's going to go aggressive. But if they're not going to go aggressive, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull all my vills, and I'm going to do a split between food and gold. You can do a 3-to-2 split when you have deer, or 2-to-1 split if you don't have deer. But you will always have deer, otherwise you're screwed up. So just try to split your vills onto the deers here. And then gold as well. And then if you're floating a little bit of gold because you were too heavy on gold, then you can get a few more upgrades. But that's pretty much it. Simple as that. That's the re-macro. Go off wood. Have like 2 or 3 on wood, just in case you need to build a house or need to get another production building or a tower or something. That's fine. Yeah. So we're going to go up. We like to go with culturing logistics. This is an essential part about playing the meta currently. Is the fact that we can go 3 Dervish and then we can get all the relics that we want to. We don't need to go double tower here, but it's something you can do. Then you can add in more production. I really like to go 2 stables and 3 archer ranges. Then blacksmiths if you haven't gotten it in feudal age. So yeah, that's how you play this build, pretty much. You take the relics, you make units, Knight Archer, Camel Lancer Archers, you upgrade your archers, get your ranged armor, especially also your ranged attack. And then you can play Camel Lancer Archer, or you can play Horseman Crossbow. That's pretty much how I would play it. You can also go for Mass Desiderator in some instances, but it's not as good in Castle Age as it is in Feudal Age. So yeah, get your mosque and then start depositing relics. Alright, let's get to the next build. The next build we take a look at is the Desiderator Chi strat. So Desiderators are pretty funny because they're both a range unit and a melee unit and a cavalry unit. So if you want to play this strategy, you have to be aware of a couple of things. First and foremost, this is a really good strategy on hybrid maps, and it's good because you can start building docks in the feudal age and still have a lot of units for aggression whilst your opponent's still trying to age you. Secondly, Desiderators deal better with cavalry in general than they deal with infantry, so just be aware that their counters are infantry units in general, and you want to use them against primarily cavalry units. The goal here is to get about 20 Desiderators at minute 10, but again, you can cut earlier or keep going, depending on if you're still finding value. I would say it's a good idea to get Castle Age. You can do that with either Military Wing to get more Desiderators, or Growth Wing and then start booming. So there's different approaches to take here, but the general idea is we play really aggressive, and this is a good build to counter Pro Scouts, for example, and then we can decide to do Pro Scouts if we want to. Again, we don't need to. All right. Build is in the description. You can find it there if you want to and follow it. Basically what we do is we open up with a house and House of Wisdom, and we do that while we're also going to gather from sheep. So we're not going to go and mill early. We can go and mill early if you want to, but it's not really needed because we're not really going to gather with growth activated, right? Because we don't go growth until Castle Age perhaps. So that means that we're going to miss out on a lot of extra food. Castle Age growth, I believe, gives 100, 150 food. Don't count me on it. It's a lot of food that you get on top of it. So if you can postpone your berry gathering, then do so. So 6 on food, then 2 to gold, and then rally back to food. Once you've clicked up, which is going to be at about 210, then you're going to click up with the Dervish Wing Logistics. This is a good wing for healing use this wing together with your Desert Raiders, and your Desert Raiders will always be at full health. This is really, really strong, so I would advise doing this. Yeah, so we're gonna age up, and then we're gonna gather our straggler trees. So you leave 4 on food, 2 on gold, and then you put all of the other villas onto wood until you have about 10 on wood. 10 on wood, 4 on food, 2 on gold. Then we re-macro again once we reach the feudal age. So just gather your straggler trees, click up with the logistics wing, and yeah, then you're gonna be good to go to start producing early on in the feudal age here. I just keep rallying here to my straggler trees, make sure that they're somewhat gonna exhaust at the same time, that I've fully gathered them all at the same time, and then they can go on to the lumber camp afterwards. I don't want to build the lumber camp too early. We of course also want to get a house at some point. You can do that with a gold villa or food villa or wood villa, it doesn't really matter. You just want to get a house so you don't get housed when your dervish comes out. We don't really want to open up with military wing reinforcement because we're gonna make desert raiders anyways, and this is not really a lot of value. Alright, mill, house, lumber camp. Things are getting dropped now, and this is because we want to get our golden age. We obviously also want to get 2 stables, and you can get your first stable when you've just aged up, and your second stable at about 5 minutes. So that's really the best way to play it, I would say. Here comes the stable. Currently we have 8 buildings, so we just need to build 2 stables, and then we're going to be good to go for the golden age. You can also build a house just now, and then you're going to get the plus 10%. So pretty simple. Now we're just macroing 7, 7, 4. We're rallying onto our berries because we'd like to go for about a 2-1-1 split. I think is really good. So twice as many on food as you have, or as many on food as you have on wood and gold, I should say. So that's the way I would do it. Just macroing a little bit here. Again, you can use the AOE4 production calculator if you want to know more about the splits for Desert Raiders. Desert Raiders cost 80 food, and then they cost 50 wood and 50 gold. So it's 180 resources, a little bit less than a knight, a little bit more than a horseman. If you heal them up with the Dervish, then you're going to get a lot of value out of this unit, and I would really advise doing so. We've also gotten wheelbarrow, and now we're just full producing the Desert Raiders. So this is a really good strat to use on hybrid maps, of course. Also really good against cavalry civs because of the debuff and the bonus damage to cavalry units. You can also use it against pro scout civs. This is a very, it's a really good build that you can use against pretty much anything but infantry civs that go very heavy feudal aggression. It's probably going to struggle a little bit against fast castle and such because it's hard for the Desert Raiders to do much damage against towers and for example, Barbican or anything static defense-wise. And so if your opponent's playing it like that, you could decide on building a few archers for rams. But in reality, all you gotta do is just go castle in that moment because your opponent's already putting themselves behind. Get as much damage through as possible, heal up your units, and then you'll have a fine time here. You can see how strong that heal is. Plus, it's AOE, so the heal is extra strong as it's going to heal all the units around you. It's like a passive aura. Yeah, now you can start raiding. Hence the name, Desert Raider. Just start raiding. Keep your splits in check. Make sure you're spending all your resources. And here at about 10 minutes you should have enough units to really do some damage or go up safely to Castle Age. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this build. It's very simple, it's very strong, and a lot of people will not expect that you go for it. So you might be able to get some free wins with this. Again, I'm not really big on cheese strats, but I think this is probably the closest I'll get to a cheese strat in terms of these builds that I think actually also works with the meta that we're currently in. So a little bit of a spin on how to play Ayyubids and try to do something here with Feudal Age, Pro Scouts and stuff. So hope you enjoy this build. Let's get to the last build of this video. The last build we take a look at is going to be the Ayyubid Fast Feudal Dog Drop. This is an incredibly strong build to use when you're fighting on hybrid maps, and you can even use it on these type of full water maps like Baltic. So if you're playing in a map like this that has deep sea fish, it's still better to go for like a fishing boat opener, but a lot of the times you can catch people off guard with a build like this. So it really just sticks to the Ayyubid nature of being very timing oriented. And this is the kind of build that if you play Nagari, if you play Boulder Bay, if you play Baltic, these type of big mid lakes, then you'll find incredibly strong openers this way. You will lock your opponent down early, you will be able to have the full a 1-1-1 counter on water, and therefore you'll be able to, yeah, well, lock your opponent's fishing eco whilst you keep on expanding your own. So you're doing the same opener as with the cheese strat. You're pretty much just going 6 on food. You're opening up with a house and House of Wisdom, and then you're going to be going 2 to gold. Simple as that. The difference is we're going to age up extremely early here. We're going to start our age up much earlier. At about... Oh, let me see if I can find it. We're going to be aging up at a 112. There we go. So you want to use the advancement wing. 1 minute and 12 on the clock is your gold. So you want to gather 25 gold from your gold vein. You can monitor that by clicking your gold. And when it goes down to 39.75, you know you have enough gold to age up. So you do a drop off from your gold bills here, then you drop off your food bills, and then you can click the culturing. There you go. So now you're aging up, and now you can split your bills out once more. Your scout, you're going to send your scout out here to go for a look on whether or not your opponent went for water or not. That's really important info. In the meantime, you take your bills, and then you start gathering the straggler trees. You want to gather all the straggler trees before you go on to the wood line. Excuse me. So with the wood line, you can then take your bill here and then start building a dock at 2 minutes. 2 minutes, you should have 75 wood. You start your dock, and then you can prep that way for the feudal age, which is gonna come through at about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So it's very fast. It's a very fast opener, and that's the whole, you know, the whole point of this is like we just want to get really quick navy out so that we do damage early. And with that, we can build some fishing boats behind, close to these deep sea fish. So we're gathering wood, we're gathering food. We have 6 on food, rest on wood, 1 on gold. And we're gonna go up with an archer ship immediately. Archer ship is really good against fishing boats. Follow it up with a bachla after, and then you can go dow, because you want to get the demo ship out as quick as possible after this bachla, the warship, the springless ship as we call it. And the springless ship is the counter to archer ship and springless ship. So get the demo out so you can kill the enemy springless ship as quick as possible, because they will be building a springless ship to counter your archer ship. So archer ship out at 3 minutes and 15 here. Send the archer ship out, drop the sheep off, build a house, and then in a moment you can get your springless ship and get your lumber camp. The archer ship would then go to the other side of the water or the pond, and then you just start pressuring here. So usually it's kind of like a must to go on docks. So obviously in this replay here, this is just a bot, so they are not on water, but this is how it works. Send out your archer ship, then go with your springless ship, and afterwards, once you've got your lumber camp up and running, you go for your demo ship. Simple as that. There we go. Now the demo ship is in queue. Most people age up at this point, and so you will already have a demo ship, springless ship, and an archer ship at the point where they age up. And that's efficient. That's very efficient. Now add the second dock, and then start making fishing boats. You can, of course, continue to make boats, which I would advise if you're up against somebody who went double dock or just starts to make ships in general. Get a second springless ship. And then, of course, scout your opponent well so you know if they're going to go and switch to land and do some aggression there. You now have the water. You have a really good income. This is the highest gather rate you can get with boats. Deep water fish is incredibly efficient. I think it's over... I think it's about 1 food per second, which is faster than a boar gather rate. So get your deep sea fish. The shoreline fish gathers a lot slower, so just be aware of that. It should be the same as berries. So that's pretty much how you do it. Macro, and then 3 on gold, get your eco upgrades, the double products, get your houses, get your golden age, and then from there on out, if you get full water control, take the water, go really heavy on fish boom, and then go castle age with that fish boom. Tower on your gold, go up to castle, and get your knights out. Simple as that. All right. I will be seeing you guys in the next video. From here on out, we have finished the full series of 16 build orders, which means I've made 16 builds, 3 builds for 16 civilizations, which is absolutely crazy. It's taken like 3 months now to make this series here, and it's been a little bit of a drainer, I must admit. But we will, of course, take a look at how to play the Templars as well. I can't guarantee that it's going to be 3 builds, but hope you've enjoyed this series. And if you want to see more of this in the future, let me know. For now, I'm going to focus on the DLC, and I'll be trying to put out the highest quality content that I can there. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see about the new DLC as we lead into it or after it drops, let me know and I'll take up on your comments. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.